What hearing protection is right for you? This week on Mail Call Mondays. I'm John McQuay with 8541 Tactical, and this is Mail Call Mondays, the show that answers your questions about precision rifles, optics, and equipment. This week on Mail Call Mondays, we are going to talk about hearing protection and specifically earmuffs. I've used a couple of different sets of earmuffs in my shooting career. I've used earplugs, various different types of hearing protection, and we're going to talk about a little bit of the benefits and drawbacks of each and some of the options in different price ranges and performance ranges for you guys out there. Now, we can go back and forth on the need for eye protection. We're shooting precision rifles with high-end optics on it. That's really going to be a personal choice. You can complete a whole shooting session, a whole shooting season with precision rifles without eye protection and not have any damage to your eyes. Now, of course, there can be the one catastrophic event that permanently destroys your sight. So the use of eye protection is really going to be a personal choice. It's a good idea, but sometimes it can cause problems. Ear protection, in my consideration, is absolutely mandatory. While you can go through a shooting session without eye protection and not injure your eyes, you cannot go through a shooting session with high-powered rifles shooting supersonic ammunition without ear protection unless you want to damage your hearing significantly. Even a .22 long rifle, when shooting high-velocity ammunition that breaks the speed of sound, will start to damage your ears. You'll notice that snap, and that snap over and over and over again of the bullet breaking the speed of sound will cause your ears to ring slightly. You do that enough, you may not significantly notice a hearing damage, but you'll start to notice that you'll get tinnitus, you'll have this ringing or wind chimes in your ear. Now, from my military service, from not wearing ear protection when I should have, but because of the tactical environment, it wasn't really a good idea at the time. I now have tinnitus, and it is really, really annoying. My ears constantly ring. I constantly hear wind chimes. It can be a perfectly quiet environment. In fact, it's even worse in a perfectly quiet environment. I'll really notice it. In fact, my ears are ringing right now, and there's really no loud sounds that I've been exposed to. So you really want to prevent this before it starts, especially with you new shooters. I highly, highly encourage you new shooters to protect your hearing at every chance you get, because it is cumulative. The more you're exposed to loud noise, the more damage you will do to your ears. Now, I'm not an audiologist. I'm just a guy that has some pretty significant hearing damage, so I can't speak to you on the exact technical details on why and how your ears are damaged. But exposure to very, very high volume peak noises, even for a very, very short time, will cause irreparable damage to your ears. So what do we do to prevent that? Well, the easiest and cheapest method are just regular foam earplugs. I've got a box of foam earplugs. I buy them by the case. I always throw a handful in the shooting bags. That way, if there's somebody out at the range that forgot their ear pro, that didn't bring it, or just is not well informed, I can hand them a set of foam earplugs. Go, here you go. Put your plugs in. You'll have a much more enjoyable shooting day. Dropping that noise level down will lessen your fatigue, and it really will make shooting more enjoyable. You'll tire out a whole lot less. It's amazing how loud noises will tire you out quicker than if you're in a nice calm environment. The next level up from that are the various different forms of reusable plastic earplugs. My favorites right now, if you're going to go with plastic earplugs, are the Surefire EP7s. Now, if you go with these Surefire earplugs, you want to make sure that you look at the different levels on it, because the EP7s are their top. Those are perfect for shooting the high-powered rifles that we shoot. Some of the lower level Surefire electronic ear protection, or sorry, not electronic ear protection, passive ear protection, some of the lower levels of their plugs are not rated high enough to really work well with high-powered rifles. I've used a wide range of them, and I found the EP7s are the best. If you don't want to drop the money on electronic ears, the EP7s work very well for allowing low volume noises to pass through, but they have brakes built into them to cut down those high volume noises. So you can carry on a conversation, although it is a little bit elevated volume, but when the gunshots occur, it drops that noise down. And those are passive. They don't require any batteries, so they can get wet. They can be in adverse environments, and it's not a big deal. And they're very small and very compact to carry. When I travel, I usually carry those with me, so if something happens, if my earmuffs get damaged, lost, misplaced, etc., then I still have some high quality ear protection that I can use. And the price on those, it varies, but 20 to 30 bucks is really about average for the Surefire earplugs. Now let's talk about the electronic ears here. And the ears that we have are the Leight Impact Sport, the Peltor Tactical Sport or SportTac. They're listed both ways. They changed the name at one point. So on Peltor's site right now, I believe they're listed as the Tactical Sport, but you can also find them listed on commercial sites as SportTacs. When we got these, I believe they were called the SportTacs. So that's what we have the review under on our website, and I'll leave a link to that down below. We also previously reviewed the Leight Impact Sports. And then finally, we just got these in. These are the MSA Sordin Supreme Pro X. And in my opinion, these are top of the heap as far as electronic ear pro go. Now let's talk about each one of these individually. These are really the most common that you will see out there, the Leight Impact Sport. Now, for an entry-level set of ears, these are extremely nice. They're very good quality. The audio on them is fairly good, so when you have them turned on, you have a rotary switch here. You switch them on, you can adjust the volume to wherever you want it, and you can hear conversations really well. You can hear range commands really well. You can even hear somebody walking up behind you crunching in the gravel. The microphones on the side don't really pick up that much wind noise. They're fairly good to go in that aspect, and they accept two, I believe there's AAA batteries in these. Again, they work great. There are a couple of things. Well, first of all, the noise reduction rating on these are 22, and a noise reduction rating, really, it's a factor that's set up that allows you to compare ear protection without going into decibels and test noises and all that stuff. So these are rated at noise reduction rating 22, and the higher the noise reduction rating, the better the earmuffs will reduce ambient noise or reduce peak noises such as gunshots. So these are NRR 22, and as I said, they work really well. Now, a couple of drawbacks to them that I found. First of all, this set, it's got some issues to it. You'll notice if I adjust them, they kind of pop in and out really easy. There's not enough friction on the adjustments here for them to really hold in place. So they like to walk when I'm wearing them. The ear cups will actually move down and lose their adjustment. And because of that, they don't stay in place. They don't seal really well on my head. So while they have a higher noise reduction rating than the other ears that I'm going to talk about here, they do not actually block out noise as well for me. Additionally, the ear cups here are kind of a harder design. They're less pliable, and so when certain sets of eye protection will actually leave gaps in them, and that's a place where noise can get in and again lessen the ability to reduce noise. If you are on a tight budget, these run for about 50 bucks. Sometimes you can find them on sale here and there, but they are good to go for 50 bucks. I still let my kids use these. These are my loaner set now. The wife will use them occasionally when we go to the range, although she actually prefers just the regular foam disposable earplugs. So these are a good option if you're really snug on the budget and if they fit you, because ear protection fit is usually an individual thing. It's the way your head is shaped around your ears decides how well these seal up. As far as I have found, the ear cups that these come with are the only option. You can't swap them out like you can on some of the others. For a higher grade model, you can swap them out for replacements. So if they get damaged, they get nasty, then you can pop them out and you can put on replacement ear cups. They're usually called a hygiene kit. They come with foam inside and the outer ears. And it's good to replace those occasionally just for sanitary reasons, and they tend to degrade over time, and that foam won't be as pliable anymore and it won't seal as well. So those are the Howard Leight Impact Sports. Now next up from the Impact Sports, we have the Peltor Tactical Sport or SportTac. In fact, I was wrong earlier. These actually say Tactical Sport on the side of them. These I have used for quite a few years. These were my daily drivers. Anytime I was out the range, these were the ears that I was wearing. Very good. They run, these I said run about 50. These run about $100. Now the noise reduction rating on the Tactical Sport is NRR 20. So they are a little lower noise reduction rating than these. But as I mentioned earlier, these fit me a whole lot better. They've got more tension in the headband. They hold their adjustments much better. And because of those two features right there, these actually suppress sound better for me than the Howard Leight hearing protection. So the noise reduction rating alone does not tell the whole story. It's how they fit as well. Now the Peltors have some really neat features on them. Again, the sound is very nice on them. I have no problems listening to conversations all day long with them. Again, you can crank the volume way up on here, so if you're out at the range on your own and you want to be able to hear ambient noises in nature, maybe you're hunting with them, you can really crank the volume up. In fact, one of the things I really like about these, and the Howard Leights to a lesser extent, is that because of my hearing damage, sometimes I don't hear as well as I really could. So if I'm standing on the range and having a conversation with you, sometimes I'm reading your lips more than I'm actually hearing you. So with these, I can crank that volume up, and I can turn it up to a level where I can now comfortably hear your conversation, and I'm not constantly asking you to repeat yourself. So really nice. And again, you can crank them up so that you can hear somebody coming up behind you, and that in itself is a safety concern. I want to know if somebody's walking up on me on the range when I'm on the range on my own. So really great. On the Howard Leights, they used a rotary volume switch. On the Peltors, everything is push button. So you have a push button power switch, and you have volume up and volume down. On both the Peltors and the Howard Leights, and even the Sordins, they have an automatic shut-off, so after you've listened to them for a specific amount of time, they will shut off on their own. The Howard Leights have an extremely long time before they will shut off. I don't know that I've ever had them shut off while I was using them. I don't remember what the actual cutoff time is on them. I have left them on and tossed them in my bag, and they shut off on their own. And when you pull them out and notice you've left them on, all you do is turn them off and turn them back on again, and they reset and they're good to go, so you won't burn your batteries out. The Peltors, they will drop out while you're wearing them, but what they'll do is they'll beep several times first to let you know that they're getting ready to drop out. That's really a double-edged sword. It's nice that it lets you know and you can turn it on, but guess what? If the sound switches off and you notice you can't hear things anymore, that would also let you know that they switched off and let you turn it back on. The thing I don't like about the beeping is if it happens to decide to shut off in the middle of a stage, then it's going to be distracting. You're going to have this thing beeping in your ear, and you're going to have to reach up and you just hit one of the buttons and it cancels it and it stays on, but you have to reach up and hit one of the buttons. Now, luckily, I have not had them do that while I was actually shooting a stage. It usually will be in the middle of a conversation, they'll start beeping, and I just reach up, tap it, and cancel it, and you're good to go. The Peltors are great in the fact that the buttons are nice and raised. They're set out in a logical format. The power button is shaped different than the volume up and volume down, and the power button is in the middle here. Volume up is on top and volume down is on the bottom. So it's really easy and really logical for you to reach up, feel the buttons, and hit the button that you need to adjust them. The batteries in the Tactical Sport are behind this little battery door here. You've got this switch that you pull down. On new ones, it can be really difficult to get that switch down. Sometimes you'll have to get in there, even with a screwdriver or something, to pop it down. Be very careful, because it's just a plastic latch. You can break it out. The batteries are contained in here. Again, we've got two AAA batteries, and they're very easy to get in and out, and then you just simply drop your ear shell back on, push it closed, and they're locked in. These Tactical Sport came with orange ear cups too, so if you take them out hunting, you can put your blaze orange on there and be good to go as far as that goes. Obviously, I just have the black on there, and again, they work great. Wind noise, again, is not bad with these. If you get into a really windy environment, then you will want to turn the volume down because you will get ruffling, that really ugly blasting noise in your ears with the wind, high-speed wind coming over the cups. They're not super lightweight. In fact, the Howard Leights are a little bit lighter than the Peltors, but really it has to be a long shooting day before you really start to notice these. Now, as I mentioned, these have really been my daily drivers. I have worn them nonstop through classes, competitions, etc., and they have really gotten worn a little bit. The main failure point that we have here are the cords that come off the back of them. On the Howard Leights, the cords are routed fairly well. When you flip them open and close, the cords don't get caught up on stuff. The Peltors, when you are flipping them into their compact position, the cords can get caught up in the ear adjusters. And mine, after doing that for quite a few years, they've split the covering on the wires, and I haven't gone back in and taped them back up. I thought that was causing a short in these. They were starting to drop out. They were starting to have crackling in one of the ear cups. But actually what it was the connector that goes into the circuit board on the side of them. And I went in and reseated that connector, and the crackling went away, and again, they've been great. The Peltors come with your standard foam ear cups. They're okay. They're really not all that comfortable in temperature extremes. They tend to get sweaty and slide around a little bit, and they don't seal as well around eye protection. However, Peltor does offer the gel ear seals, and if you pick up the Tactical Sports, I highly suggest the gel ear seals. It is a night and day difference when you wear ear protection with gel ear seals, and almost for that reason alone, I recommend these over the Howard Leights. Just the gel ear seals make it a whole lot nicer. Just pushing on them and squishing them around, they feel so nice, but when you get them on your head, they really feel great. The only drawback to the gel ear seals is in the winter. They tend to be a little colder when you put them on at first until they warm up. You may want to drop them on your leg and let them warm up against your body a little bit before you stick them over your ears. But it's really not that big of a deal. Stick them in front of the heater in the car and let them warm up that way if you want. But just something to bring the gel ear seals a little bit closer to body temperature before you throw them on in freezing weather. I haven't had any problems with the gel getting too viscous in really cold weather. Again, once you get it against your skin, it warms up and moves pretty well. Noise reduction rating of 20, as we said, so slightly lower, but actually higher in use for me. One thing that I didn't mention between the two of them, the Peltors attenuate gunshots a whole lot better. There are different ways that different ear protection can attenuate gunshots. One is clipping and the other is attenuation. Clipping means when the gunshot goes off, it just shuts all sound off until the gunshot subsides, and then it turns the sound back on. So you just get this really harsh drop out and then come back up. On the Peltors, it drops the noise down. So if you're carrying on a conversation and someone's shooting in the background, it's really not as annoying. It drops the volume down and brings it back up, and it really doesn't impact your conversation badly at all. There are very fast response times when they drop down and come back up. So really great electronics in the Peltors. The Howard Leights, I haven't noticed clipping in them, but they just don't seem to work as well when I'm trying to carry on a conversation and gunshots in the background. Again, though, you're looking at a $50 price difference between the two, 50 versus 100. So you are getting a really higher quality product overall. Now, neither one of these are really water resistant. If it's pouring down rain, I don't break out the Electronic Ear Pro. I put in earplugs, that way I don't worry about damaging them. Now we come to the last model we're going to talk about today, and that is the MSA Sordin Supreme Pro X. And I waited a long time to pick these up, mainly because the Peltors worked so well for me. And you have a sizable price difference here. You've got 50, 100, and these are actually $285 the way that they're set up. Now, I know you guys are just right off the bat saying, oh my God, $285. Those of you that have not worn these may find it difficult to justify that much money for a set of ears, because they are almost 3 times what the Peltors cost. So if you're trying to outfit your family, Peltors are going to be the way to go if you're on a budget. If you spend long days at the range and shooting is pretty much your life, I highly suggest you go this route. Even before these others, save yourself some cash, because this is where you will eventually end up, in my opinion, if you take your shooting seriously and you're constantly living on the range, either training, shooting, etc. Now, what makes the MSA Sordins above the rest? Because actually you have a noise reduction rating of 18 on these. So again, we've got 22, 20, and 18. So these are lower noise reduction rating than the rest of them. Well, the fit and finish and the electronics on these are high above the rest of them. First of all, again, we have gel ear seals on these. If you buy these from Triad Tactical, you can select the gel ear seals right out of the box. It's a $285 price point, as opposed to, I believe, the non-gel ear seals are $269. You should not even consider buying these without gel ear seals. They are that much of an upgrade. So the gel ear seals bump it up a little bit, but well worth it. And you can get those already on it. These are a lot more weather resistant. They have a sealed battery chamber that's accessible just through this little screw here. It makes changing batteries in inclement weather a little bit easier. The controls right here on the side work very well. They've got dual stereo microphones, which all of these have stereo microphones, but the directional noise on these is very, very nice. You can really hear which direction the sound is coming from. The microphones on these are rated as waterproof microphones. Now, obviously, I wouldn't go swimming with them, but if you get into the pouring rain, you shouldn't have a problem with the mics shorting out. They come with this really nice headband on here. It's foam padded. It's got a nice material in here that's not going to irritate your noggin when you have them on there, even if you run really short hair or a shaved head like I do. The adjustments really click into position and they don't want to shift at all. The cords are routed very well, and the cord actually is not attached to the headband. It's only held on by the actual cover here. There are little Velcro tabs in here that hold it in place, and that gives you a really cool ability with these ears. If you rock a helmet, then you can get the helmet mounting kit and pop these ears off, unroute the cable, put them on the helmet attachment point, and that'll allow you to flip them up or down but keep them on your helmet and not have to worry about this band running underneath your helmet. Another great feature for you professional gunfighters out there. Overall, they work really, really well. When I initially got these out of the box, I wore them for a weekend of shooting with some old Marine Corps buddies, and I thought I was having some problems. I used the included batteries with them, and they were dropping out constantly. They would automatically shut off just at strange times, and I would have to power them back on. Come to find out, the batteries really were bad. I swapped those batteries out when I got back here to the house with some AAAs that I had laying around, some brand new Rayovac AAAs, and they worked great. Put them on, walked around the house for a couple hours wearing them, and didn't have any problems with them cutting out. So apparently, if you get some and you think that there's something wrong with them, replace the batteries in them. They may have been sitting on the shelf for too long, and those batteries may have gone bad. The MSA Sordins, they just really work. They're lower profile than the Peltors. They fit better under helmets. They have a more extreme cut here versus the Peltors. If you can see it, how much thinner the bottoms are here, and that means there's less chance of these interfering with your rifle stock if you have to wear them a little bit low. If your ears are hanging a little bit lower on your head, then when you get your stock up there, it's less likely that the ear cups are going to press against them. These, again, with the gel ear seals, seal very well against my head. I really can't notice that they seal any better than the Peltors, though, because, again, we're talking gel seals versus gel seals, and the Peltors really, really do work well. But, again, the MSAs are top of the heap. Now, much like rifle scopes, when you start moving up the price tier, the differences between them start to get small and small and small. So the MSAs, I can't point to any one feature and say that outclasses everything else. They do appear to be just a hair lighter than the Peltors in feel, but they're very, very close in weight. These are a little bit more comfortable on my head, though, probably because of the tension of the headband here. There are some more options out there, and they really just work well. In the short amount of time that I've been using them so far, I can't say enough about them. They do have a 5-year warranty on the electronics, so you're not dropping a ton of cash to have that go out the window if something fails on them. You'll get 5 years out of them. If something goes wrong, you send them back to MSA. And as far as we're able to find on the web, MSA customer support seems to be very good. Thankfully, we have not had to try that out, so we'll see. Now, one thing I will let you guys know, because sometimes we get stuff in on T&E, companies send us stuff all the time, and there have been some comments before about, oh, well, maybe that's swaying us. So some of you guys out there may be thinking, oh, well, they sent them the high dollar ones, so he's saying the high dollar ones are better. That is not the case. In fact, I have bought these out of my own pocket from Triad Tactical. These out of my own pocket, and these out of my own pocket. So all of these I have bought on my own with my own hard-earned money. So you can see that even though these still work just fine, I upgraded to the MSAs because they really, overall, when you add up all the little tiny things about the fit, how much thinner they are, the sound, they just work better. Now, I will say one small thing that I've found so far on a mildly windy range. The Peltors do seem to handle wind noise a little bit better than the MSAs. The microphones on the MSAs just seem to cause that ruffling a little bit more than the Peltors. I don't know if it's the way the windscreen's designed or if it's the fact that the MSAs stick out on front. But we'll see going forward, and we're going to do a full review on the MSAs themselves whenever we get a couple of weeks wearing them out at the range. So this is kind of just an introduction to the MSAs. But what I've seen so far, I do prefer them over all the others here. Now again, if you are on a tight budget, then the Howard Leights may work just fine for you, but I really suggest you save a little bit more, wear those foam earplugs a little bit longer, and get the Peltor Tactical Sports with the gel ear seals. These will last you for quite a many years. These are made in Sweden, as are the MSAs. I'm not quite sure where the Howard Leights are made at. But overall, either of these will make your range trip a whole lot more enjoyable than trying to stuff bullets in your ears or some other nonsense. Again, $50, $100, $285, and noise reduction of 22, noise reduction of 20, and noise reduction of 18. I can't tell really any difference between the noise reduction 22 and 18 in these. I can tell the difference that these don't seal that well. So again, even though we have a higher noise reduction rating, they don't work as well for me. There are a lot of guys out there that really like these. We see them a lot at competitions, we see them a lot at classes, and a lot at just regular range work. Part of that may be because of the price point, but a lot of people just really like them. And I don't know if it's because they haven't worked with any of the higher level ear protection, but you might want to give them a try, and you may be able to resell them and not get hurt too bad. But again, my recommendation is the Peltor Tactical Sports for the best bang for the buck, and the MSA Sordins for the absolute top level. I don't even want to mess with anything else. I just want to run the best out there. Now, one thing we didn't mention on these is audio input options. The Peltors and the Howard Leights have a 3.5 millimeter jack, so just a regular headphone jack. They're both mono, they're not stereo. Both of them actually come with an accessory cord that allow you to plug an iPhone, an MP3 player, etc. in and get the audio off of them. You don't have any microphone use or any remote volume control if you're using a iPod, so that you would have to source out some other cable. I'm currently trying to find a cable that allows me volume and mic control for my iPhone. That way I can plug it in, throw my iPhone in my pocket at the range, and if need be, I can still communicate with it. Now, the Peltor, it has a little bit different audio option. It uses this 2-prong cable here. It does not come with an audio cable. This is an additional accessory that you have to purchase, and it is fairly expensive. I was wearing these while I was active on our SWAT team. They do fit under a Mitch-style helmet, and I bought the cable so that I could pipe it into my radio and not have to wear an earplug underneath the headset. And it worked fairly well when I had it all set up. You control the volume off of the radio, off the source. There's no way to control the volume on the ears. But it was fairly annoying that I bought a $100 headset and then I had to buy a very expensive audio cable to be able to use the built-in feature on the headset. So it's really nice that on the Howard Leights, and especially on the top-end MSAs, that they include a cable and that it is not a proprietary plug. You can go down to Radio Shack if you break your cable or lose your cable and buy a replacement cable for these. The Peltor is a little bit more difficult to find. Now, they do have a boom microphone cable type deal that plugs into here, so if that's your thing, the Peltors have a couple of other options. The Sordins, they do have a comm option on the Sordin, so you can buy a model that has the boom microphone and even dual comms and all kinds of other stuff, but that significantly increases the price. And most of us shooters that are just going out and doing long rifle work have no need of all the extra comms, and boom microphones actually really get in the way when you're shooting a bolt gun. You end up having to swing them up out of the way and tape them up and do all kinds of other nonsense. So these really, without the comm options, work very well. If you want to plug your iPhone or your iPod or something into them, all three have the options. These two, the easiest, the Peltor, mildly more annoying and more expensive to take care of it. So hopefully that gives you some ideas on varying different levels of ear protection in the different performance levels and in the different price levels. We tried to kind of spread them out a little bit to give you guys something that fits your pocketbook. If you have any questions or comments on anything we covered here or any of the different sections of ear protection, or I'd like to hear your experiences with them. If you own one of these models, please post it in the comment section below or send it to us on Facebook or Twitter. If you've liked this video, as always, please like, share, and subscribe. And I want to wish a happy 239th birthday to my beloved United States Marine Corps. All you Marines out there, happy birthday. And until next time, get out and shoot.